Hello, thank you for watching this video. So in this video, we're doing question 1 of May, June 2025, question paper mathematics paper 1. And the topic is equations, so we're solving for x here. So let's go. At question 1, they are saying solve for x. So we are given a series of quadratic equations. Actually, of just equations, because there's a series including exponentials here. So let's go. So the first one, they wanted to solve for x here. So this is a quadratic equation, right? And it does not get easier than this. You just put this on your quadratic equation or quadratic formula, or you just factorize it. So I will factorize it and say, okay, open two brackets equals 0. So I have x and x, so it's 5 and it's 2. So minus and it's a plus. If you don't know how to factorize, it's not a problem. You can just use a quadratic formula from here. So if you multiply two things and the answer is 0, which is it's either this part is 0 or that part is 0. So in that case, which is your x minus 5 is 0, or your x plus 2 is 0. In that case, your x equals 5 or your x equals minus 2. Right? Then we move to the next question, which is also a quadratic equation 1.1.2. They want you to solve for x here as well. And what you have 3x squared plus 6x plus 1, and there's also a hint or instructions here. So they are saying correct this answer to 2 decimal places, right? To 2 decimal places. So they want you to round the answer to this to 2 decimal points. So I said it's a hint because if they are saying that to you, of course you're expected to factor most of your answers to 2 decimal points as per their instructions. So I think what they're trying to say to you essentially is that the factors of this thing might not be rational, they might be irrational. So whatever those rational answers that you get, you must correct them to 2 decimal places. I think that's what they're trying to say. And also, it's also in standard form. So in that case, just put it on your quadratic formula and then you solve. So what do we do? So okay, your quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of a discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2 times a, right? So from here we just substitute. What do we have? We say okay, x equals negative b, which is 6, plus or minus the square root of 6 all squared minus 4. Our a is 3 and our c is 1, all divided by 2 times our a, which is 3, right? That's what we have. So we're given as 3x squared plus 6x plus 1. So your a is 3, so you put it where you see your a's, and your b is 6, you put it where you see your b's, and your c is 1, you put it where you see your 1's. So that's what we did. The next thing, you just punch this in your calculator and see what you get. So let's punch this. So we're going to say, okay, negative of 6 plus square root 6 all squared minus 4 into 3 into 1 all over 2 into 3. So the answer that we get here is x equals what? X equals equal to negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 6 all over 3. And the decimal solution is x equals what? Negative 0.18, or your second x below will be equal to what? Going to be negative 1.82. So these are the solutions. Now we move to the next equation, and the next equation is an exponential equation. So what do we have? On this exponential, they say 2 raised x, or this is 1.1.3. So we're given 2 raised x plus 4 plus 2 raised x equals what? Equals 8704, right? So you know your exponentials. So if you're given this, something like this, you break it down, which is you decompose it using your exponent laws. So in this case, it's more like here you had 2 bases that were the same, and you took one base and added exponent. So you bring it back. So if you have it like that, you break it down into those 2 bases, each one of them having its own exponent. So in that case, so this will be 2 raised x. times 2 raised 4 plus 2 raised x is equal to 8704. Right? Next thing, we take out the common factor on the left hand side, which is 2 raised x. So what do we have? We have 2 raised x into 2 raised 4 plus 1 equals 8704. So you have 2 raised x, right, times 17 is equal to the factors of that. Let's decompose that and see what it is. So if you find the factors of 8704, what are the factors? It's equal to 2 raised 9 times 17, right? So those are the factors of that. So what that means, it means this part is this part and this part is that part. So if you're looking at it, this 2 is this 2, this 17 is 17, which means if these two are equal, that x have to be that 9. So your x equals 9. Are you happy? Next. So this is an exponent, this is an inequality. So that's saying 1.1.4. What are they saying at 1.1.4? You're given two brackets here, your x minus 4 minus 8 times your x plus 2. They're saying they want the values where this is less or equal 0. So when it does not get easier than this, just find your critical values. So okay, we find our critical values. So we're going to equate this to 0 and say x minus 4 or x minus 8 and x plus 2. Equate this to 0, which means you have two brackets multiplying each other and the product is 0. Either this part, x minus 8, is 0, or x plus 2 should be 0 in order to achieve a 0 product. So x equals 8 or x equals negative 2. So if you plot this as a parabola that it is, so you can see that your minus 2 should be there and your 8 should be somewhere there. So your function should be something along the line of this. It's positive, right? Because this was positive to begin with. So you want it where it is what? Where it is less or equal 0. So if you look at this function of yours, here it's above 0, here is below 0, here is above 0 again. So you want it where it is 0 or less, which is where it is non-positive, right? So it is 0 here and below 0 here and 0 again there. So you want it where it is 0 or below 0. So you want the corresponding x value for where it is 0 or below. So it is 0 below between minus 2 and 8. So these are the corresponding x values. Because you know, these are the x-axis, right? Which is, these are the x values and these are your y-axis. So if you want to read the x values, you read them along this line. So these are the x values. So this function will satisfy this equation when the x values are between minus 2 and 8. So in that case, just say your final solution should be x is an element of minus 2 to 8. Or if you want, you can say your x value should be like this, right? Like that, minus 2 and your 8 there. I think we should be fine. Now we move to the last one. So here you are given at 1.1.5 that your x plus 3 root what? Root x plus 2 equals 2. So you know very well, if you're given something like that, the first thing to do is to isolate the root. The root should be on its own, right? So let's take this 2 to this side and take that root to the other side. So if you do this 2 comes this side and becomes negative. So what you have x minus 2 equals negative 3 root what? X plus 2. Are you happy with that? Yes. In that case, after isolating the root, you square both sides. So you will square this side and square that side. So what do we have? What we will have is the answer. We multiply these two brackets out. So you have x minus 2 times x minus 2, because there's 2 of these brackets, equaling negative 3 root x plus 2 all squared. So if you multiply these brackets out, what you'll get x squared minus 4x plus 4 equaling what? Equal this. So you know this from your exponent laws. If you're squaring this will be squared and this will be squared on its own, which is you'll have your minus 3 squared, all squared, and your square root of x plus 2 all squared. Each of them will get their own square. Those are exponent laws, right? Then in that case, you have your x squared minus 4x plus 4 equaling 9 times whatever this and that will go away, because this will be 9 and those two, the square root, and that will cancel out. So you're left with x plus 2. So x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 9x plus 2. Happy?
Yes.
In that case, we'll say, okay, let's transpose this to this side. You have x squared minus 4x minus 9x minus 4 minus, this should be 18, because 9 times 2 is 18. So minus 18 equals 0. So you have x squared minus, if you add these like terms, so it should be minus 13x, and those should be minus 14 equals 0. The next thing is to use the quadratic equation or formula to factorize this. So in that case, I can just factor this to be x and x. You have 14, you have 1, so it should be minus, should be a plus. So x should be 14, or your x should be minus 1. So, you know, when you're doing this kind of equation, it's important to test the validity of your solutions, right? You might have to select one if there's one that is invalid. So in this case, if you take the 14 and put it here, so you have 14 here, right? And whatever that will come out here, do you agree that if you put your 14 there, the answer will be positive? So you're adding 14 and other positive thing. Is that possible to equal 2? So this side will be bigger than this. So this solution is invalid. If you take your 14 and put it here and there, it will not equal 2. Because putting 14 there and adding a positive number makes it even bigger than 14. So it can't equal 2. So this solution is bad. You must deselect it. Then go to minus 1. If you put your minus 1 there and put your minus 1 there, so if you put your minus 1 there, you have a negative 1 plus 2, which is a 1. A square root of 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3, and you separate that 1 that is over there. That will make it 2. So this one works. So I would say this is the only valid solution. So we've done with the first 5 solutions or five equations. So we're going to clean this and go to 1.2, then 1.3. Okay, so now that we're done with 1.1, we're going to move to 1.2, right? So what are they saying about 1.2? They're saying a rectangle having sides of y minus 3 meters and x plus 2 meters has a perimeter of 24 meters and an area of 32 square meters. So they wanted to calculate the value of x and y. So what are they saying? They are saying we have a rectangle here. So here is the rectangle. Right? Okay, it doesn't look very rectangle. Okay. So this is close enough. This is a rectangle, right? So you know that your rectangle, if you're speaking about a rectangle, the opposite sides are equal. This will be equal to this one, and these two are also equal. So all rectangles are parallelograms, right?
Yes.
And all rectangles are square, but that doesn't, we don't need that here. So if we're saying this is a rectangle, that's saying this rectangle of ours have the sides, let's say this is y minus 3. So if this is y minus 3, so is this one. So this is y minus 3 as well. And the other sides are what? Are x plus 2. So we can say this is x plus 2, and the side this is x plus 2. So it doesn't really matter which order you put them. Rectangle is a rectangle. So what are they telling? What have they told us? They told that the perimeter of this triangle, of this rectangle, is what? Is 24 meters. Are you following me? And the area of the same rectangle is what? Is 32 square meters. So what is the perimeter? The perimeter is the total length of these sides, which is the total length of this boundary of that rectangle, which is the entire length of the boundary. Which means if you add this side, this side, this side, and that side, you are getting a perimeter. So it's the total length of the boundary. Now, what is the area? Area is the total space that is covered by this rectangle, which is the total flat surface that is occupied or used by this area, by this rectangle. So if you want the perimeter, you must add all the sides. And you know, if you add all the sides, you're going to get a total length of 24 meters. And if you want the area of a rectangle is the space that is covered by or occupied by the flat space that is occupied by the shape. So it's all of this space that is here. I'm not sure if that does make sense. So if you want to calculate the area, you're going just to say your length times breadth. And you know, if you say this side times that side, you get this area. And then from there, you get two equations and solve them simultaneously. So in that case, if you want our perimeter, we know perimeter is called 24, right? So if you want our perimeter, it's going to the length of all sides. We have 4 sides here. So we're going to say, let's say this is L1. Okay, let's say this is side 1. S1, side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4. So these are the sides, right? So if you want the perimeter, let me use the red ink, or maybe let me stick with this one. The perimeter P will be called S1, which is the length of S1 plus the length of S2 plus the length of S3 and the length of S4. So in that case, your perimeter is equal to S1, which is x plus 2, plus S2, which is y minus 3, plus S3, which is x plus 2 again, plus S4. What is S4? S4 is y minus 3. Are you happy with that?
Yes.
So in that case, the perimeter is equal to what? X and x, so this is 2x. Do you agree? Collecting the like terms now. This, and that. So if you add those, it's minus 6 and a 4. Should be something like minus 2. And then the y's, this y and that y plus 2y. So this is what you get when you add all those sides. But you know that this sum is equal to your perimeter, and your perimeter is 24. So what you have is 24 is equal to 2x minus 2 plus 2y. So it's 2y because we added the y is there. That's how we got that. So in that case, you can take this to the other side. So okay, let's say our 26 is equal to 2x plus 2y. Are you following me? In that case, we can even leave it here. It's fine. So we're done with the first equation. Now, let's go and try to do the second equation on the area. You know that if you're speaking about an area of a rectangle, it's called to length times breadth, right?
Yes.
We know the area, that is 32 square meters. There is it. So our length is what? We can say it's y minus 3, and our breadth is x plus 2. So which is our area is an answer to whatever this is, which is this time that is xy plus 2y minus 3x minus 6. I'm not sure if that's correct. So this time that is xy, this time that is 2y, this time this is minus 3x, and that is minus 6. In that case, you have your area that is 32 square meters. So in that case, when it's okay, all 32 square meters called xy plus 2y minus 3x plus 6, or minus 6. Then take this 6 to the other side. So what you have is 38 equals xy plus 2y minus 3x. So this is equation 2 over here. And that was equation 1. So out of this one, we can cough out equation 3 and substitute it there. So we can say, okay, let's solve for y maybe. So okay, from here, we're going to say, okay, from this one, 26 minus 2x equals y, equal to 2y. Because just transpose this to the other side. Then divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Get that your y is equal to 13 minus x. Then this, you can call it your equation 3. Then take this 3 and substitute there. So you say 38 equals what? Equal to x times y, and your y is 13 minus x, plus 2 times y, which is 2 times 13 minus x, minus 3x. So 38 equals 13x minus x squared plus 26 minus 2x minus 3x. Then what do? We group the like terms. So let's just take this to the other side, right? So say this side, or maybe let's just 38 equals negative x squared. So this one doesn't have any like terms. We're done with this one. So this and that. Oh, so it's what? So it's this and that and this. It's going to something like plus 8x. Because say 13 minus 3 is going to be 10x, then minus 2 is going to be 8x, right? And then plus 26. Let's take this to the other side. Push it to the left hand side. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 38 minus 26 equals 0. In that case, if you simplify this further, get that your x squared minus 8x, this and this, something like 12 equals 0. Then from there, just factorize or use your quadratics. So if you factorize it, so you can say, okay, we have x here and then x there. We have a 6, we have a 2, we have a minus, we have a minus. So your x equals 6 or your x equals 2. So if your x is 6, your y will be equal to 13 minus 6, which should be something like 7. Right? And if your x is equal to 2, put 2 there, so it's going to be 13 minus 2, something like an 11. So your solution is 6 and 7, the other one is 2 and 11. Done with this. Done with 1.2. Any questions?
No questions.
Then I'm going to clean 1.2. Then I'm going to do 1.3. So let's clean the board and do 1.3. Okay, now that we're done with 1.1 and 1.2, we're going to do 1.3. So 1.3, that's why we must show that this thing over here is divisible by 2 for all real values of m and n, right? So they want us to show that this thing is divisible by 2. So this thing over here is divisible by 2. What does this mean? It means that the number 2 will divide this thing, right? For all n and m are real numbers. Right?
Yes.
So which means you must show that this number 2 will always divide this thing as long as m and n are real numbers. I'm not sure if that didn't make sense. So if 2 divides this, I would say that this thing here is a multiple of 2. So we must show that this thing is a multiple of 2. So if it is a multiple of 2, it's 2 times something, which means every time you divide this by 2, that 2 multiplied by something will always be cancelled out. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Yes.
So in that case, what am I saying? We must show that this is a multiple of 2, which is, it can be expressed as 2 times something. Are you with me?
Yes.
No problem. So how are we going to do this? Also, let's try to simplify this thing. So if you're looking at this, in my opinion, think of this. Let's suppose this is A here, this entire thing that is written here. Let's call it A, and the other thing over there, and call it B. Right? So what you have some sort of A squared minus B squared. Do you agree? So if you look at this, this is this is a difference of 2 squares. So you can factor this thing. This is a difference of 2 squares. So it's A plus B times A minus B. So you have difference of two squares here. Are you happy? So which is that thing over there is a difference of two squares as well. Which means you can also factor it in the exact same way. Are you happy? So this is our A, we're going to put it there. This is our B, we're going to put it here. And this A, put it there. And B, put it there. And then simplify from there. So in that case, that now is equal to what? I'll put the bracket A, so this is A, so we're going to say A, 1 plus x raised m plus x raised negative n, right? Which is this A, plus a B. B is that. B is this part. Because this part is, you're adding here, you're subtracting those things over there. So these are two different things. So plus 1 minus x raised m minus x raised negative n. I'm not sure if you're happy with this. Then this is the first bracket. Here's the second one. Second bracket, your A is this, which is your 1 plus x raised m plus x raised negative n minus what? You're minusing b, but b is all of that. So you must put in a bracket to show that you are separating the entire thing. So you have your 1 minus x raised m minus x raised negative n. Not sure if it does make sense. Next thing is to simplify. So what you have, see, this will cancel this, and this will cancel that. So what we're left with is 2 on this bracket times whatever that is in there, right? For that matter, I don't think you even need to simplify this. You can just leave it as is, because you have discovered that it's 2 times whatever that is there. So these 2 will always ensure that the entire thing is divisible by 2. I'm not sure if you understand what I'm trying to say. I don't think you even need to go further. I can just take this down as is, because this 2 is enough to ensure that the entire thing, which is your entire expression, is divisible by 2. So in that case, but just to be fair, you can say, okay, 1 plus x raised m plus x raised negative n minus 1 plus x raised m plus x raised negative n. Because this time that, that's how you get this. Right? So if you look at this, see that this value and that value will go away. Right? So what you're left with 2 times this, and this is 2 x raised m plus 2 x raised negative n. So this thing is a multiple of 2. Therefore, it will be divisible by 2. You shall see. Therefore, this, which is your 1 plus x raised m plus x raised negative n all squared minus x or 1 minus x raised m minus x raised negative n all squared, which is equal to this 2 into 2 x raised m plus 2 raised x raised negative n is a multiple of 2 and therefore divisible by the 2. That's how I would have done it. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that concludes question 1. And we're done here. And I hope it does make sense to you as it does to us here. So we're going to go to the second question, which is sequence and other stuff. So let's go to question 2.
Just